Affordable gardening in small spaces. Let's make a windowsill garden. Hi, my name is Calin Duke. I work for Sustainable Nantucket as the Farm to School Manager. This means I run any programs out of the Farm to School garden on Nantucket Public School grounds. Maybe you visited the garden for one of our programs, or maybe I visited your class. In the spring and summer and fall, I love to eat fresh produce straight from our farm to school garden, other gardens around Nantucket, and from many of the farms that we have on the island. I've noticed in the wintertime, I tend to buy more food from the grocery store. And this means I create more waste from packaging, and I'm also not getting the locally grown produce that my body craves. I know I love to garden when it's nice out. What if I brought the garden inside in the wintertime? I've seen people with windowsill or indoor gardens. I bet my friend Hope could help me with that.
Hi, my name's Hope Guardenier, and I'm a garden teacher. Just like students have art teachers and gym teachers, I'm a garden teacher. And I work in about 9 different gardens out in Western Mass. All right, Calin, let's get our indoor garden started.
What do I plant my seeds in?
The first thing we need to think about is what we're going to plant our seeds in. So I have a lot of different containers here to look at. Everything from jars to egg cartons to shoe boxes. There's even old pie plates and cookie tins or takeout containers. The most important thing about whatever container you choose is that it has good drainage. So let's take a look at how to put good drainage into your containers.
How does the soil drain?
The first thing to think about with any of these containers is drainage. Drainage is how the water is going to get away from the roots of your plants. Because while the plants need water to survive, they don't like to grow in it. So we'll put some drainage holes in some of our containers.
Remember to always ask for a grown-up's help when using sharp tools.
To do that, we can use a screwdriver or other pointy objects for things like our pie plate, or with harder items, you might want to get out something sharp and make sure the grown-up is doing this to just kind of drill some holes in the bottom of our plastic containers. With the paper containers, they're going to naturally drain through the bottom, so you don't really have to poke holes in them. Now, you may have a container that you cannot poke holes in, like this glass jar. You can still use this to plant, but in order to provide the drainage that we were talking about so that the roots aren't hanging out in the water, you'll need to add something to the bottom of the container. So I have some rocks that I'm going to place at the bottom of the jar. And that way, the water will hang out in the rocks and not where the roots of the plants are in the soil. And that's our next thing, soil.
What kind of soil do I use?
So I have some potting soil here in this container. Potting soil is something that you will find in any of the garden centers or even the grocery store out on the island. So it should have in it at least 3 different ingredients. Something to provide nutrients. So in this potting soil, we have some compost, which will provide the nutrients. Also something to hold the water, something called peat moss or coconut coir, which is actually ground up coconut husk from the outside, will help to hold the water so your plants don't dry out. And you can see there are little white flecks in this soil. This is perlite. Perlite or silvery flecks called vermiculite help to provide some more drainage so that the water will flow through the soil. So your soil should have something for nutrients, something to hold water, and something to help the water go through. So you have a good balance of water holding and water drainage. Now I'm going to start filling up my containers.
You can get supplies for your own indoor garden at the Nantucket Athenaeum from now until June 5th. What should I plant?
Now it's time to plant. We have many different seeds that we can plant in our little containers, but we need to think about where these are going to be growing. This is our indoor garden. Indoor gardening means that it's going to be in a small space and it's not going to get as much light as it would if it were growing outside in the summertime. So there are certain plants that will do better when we plant them inside. Those are things that we eat the leaves of. Can you think of anything that you eat the leaf of? You eat the leaf of lettuce. You eat the leaf of spinach. You might eat the leaf of cilantro and some other herbs. The other thing that we can plant this time of year is peas, because you can actually eat the leaves of peas. Normally you eat the pod, but you can eat the leaf and the stem. Some seeds are very, very small, like lettuce seeds, and some seeds are much bigger, like pea seeds. So depending on how big the seed is, you're going to plant it differently. Our lettuce seeds, we can just sprinkle over the top of the soil in our container and just with our hand press them into the soil. That's it. You don't really need to do anything else. You don't want to poke them in because they're so small that they want to be close to the light. And if you push them deep into the dark earth, they won't get enough sunlight to start growing. So that's lettuce. Things with bigger seeds, like peas, you do want to press into the soil. So I'm going to plant peas here in my jar, and I'm going to just push them down to the middle of my finger. There they go, into the soil. Now, because we are planting these inside, and we're just going to eat the leaves of them, we don't need them to be too far apart. So I can also plant them here in my shoebox. I'll show you what that looks like. So I can plant a whole bunch of peas all around here. And once you've planted them, you do want to cover up these holes so that the peas are nestled into the dirt. These seeds are big enough that they will be able to sprout through the dark earth and find the light that will be coming through your window or down from a grow light.
Where do I put my containers now?
So now it's time to put our containers on the windowsill, which is great because they'll get the light that they need, but because we put the drainage holes in the bottom, they might also leak all over the windowsill. So to prevent that from happening, we have some tin foil underneath our container, and we just fold it up like that to catch the water so that it doesn't run all over the windowsill.
It's a good idea to label your seeds so you know what plants are going to come up. Notice how Hope has used plastic knives labeled with permanent marker.
Now our seeds and containers are on the windowsill. soaking in all of the great sunlight, and soon they will start to grow.
And grow they did. Here are Hope's sprouts just a few weeks after planting the seeds.
Hopefully, your planting was successful and you're able to eat some homegrown greens and herbs like these. Mmm, delicious. Happy planting.
I'm really excited to be working with Calin and Sustainable Nantucket on this great video to help you learn how to garden inside while the weather is still a little chilly outside.
Be sure to check out more of what Farm to School does and what Sustainable Nantucket's all about on our website and on our Instagram.